This week is stupid for the 28th of April 2024. I'm here with Mr. Ors, and let me know how was your week.
Busy week, but it looks like it was a lot busier media-wise. How about yours?
Oh, I had guests, so it was also hectic for me. But yeah, as you managed to say, there was a lot of content, and we didn't do last week is stupid. We're probably not going to go into the news from last week because this one was pretty stupid, I guess. So it was very bountiful.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
All right, let's start with Stellar Blade. I mean, everyone is talking about it, at least in my circle on Twitter. There's a huge controversy involving what I think is going to probably be the game of the year. So, the controversy is about some costume censorship, which looks really minor on the surface. It's just like a little bit of extra cloth covering the boobies. But people are very upset. Why do you think that is?
Well, beyond the principle, first of all, that people are meddling in what is just basic aesthetics. There's a more of a bait and switch aspect going on, right? Sell one thing and then suddenly they decided something else shortly after. And it's the start of a very slippery slope when you're talking about like delivering content as a service and content as as basically like early access and such, right? Because we saw what we saw in the demo, and now that the official game has come out, the official game came out with the original content just long enough to get people to buy, and then suddenly it's swapped. So if they start off with content with like if they start off with like costumes, how long is it going to be until they actually change bigger stuff in game, right?
Yeah, this seems to be a trend happening quite a lot recently. The day one patch censorship. There was another video game came out. I think it was at the end of last year. Fairy Tale. And the day one censorship patch just censored the fan service regarding underwear, if I understand correctly.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah, the camera angle stuff that they put onto that game, yeah.
yeah, many such cases, right? Which begs the question: why is it that they're advertising it in one way? Because they, they censor because like we're decent people, right? Like we're very decent people here. We do not do any of that stuff. Do not partake into fan service in our mature games. But if you're very decent people, then why are you advertising it indecently?
Yeah, it's a weird cycle, right? They produce something that gets all the approvals that it requires to get out to be minted, and then once it's minted, they change it again, right? But the bigger question is why are they allowing it to do that? And if they already know that it's going to be changed because the precedent was already set in the past, why even develop it that way in the first place? So obviously, somewhere along the way, there's someone kind of meddling around.
I mean, the thing that I don't get, and this is from a business standpoint that really baffles me. Why is it day one censorship? Like
I
they
don't
could
know.
censor it before day one, right? Because the thing is, like, the game is out there, and if you look at the physical disc, it has the content, but they are censoring
It
it
has
really as a first patch. Like, why can't they
well,
censor
hold,
it before that?
Yeah, hang on. Remember that the disc will have like just enough of the base game, right? Like the standard version 1 engine, right? Before when you're delivering the console, when if you have a physical disc that's being sold, the disc can only be minted once, can only be printed once.
Yeah,
So you have just like it's like when you go to like the old Riot like website and you used to download League of Legends. You download a base system and then you have to update in order to get the actual deeper level content.
right.
So for them, it could be really easy to change some stuff just with a simple patch.
A lot of people are saying that this is Sony. That PlayStation itself came down and said, no, you're going to censor the game because,
Really?
yes, because the CEO, which is also part of the same company that made Nikkei, has no problem with lewdness. In fact, there's many Nikkeis that are more lewd than Eve from Stellar Blade.
I mean,
And he said
these
that he
guys
will
are
not
employing
censor.
Kim Hyung Tae as an artist, right?
Yeah,
He's the old artist for Destiny Child and all of that stuff. So they already knew what they were getting into.
Yeah. And they basically have said in a press conference that they will not censor the game. So this is why a lot of people are upset. It's like, well, you lied to us. Like, well, why would you say you're not censoring it? Because that was the thing. Like, people saw it in the trailer, and they were like, no way is this coming out on PlayStation. Like,
Yeah.
no way that they're doing that. And then the
There's
CEO comes out and says, no, actually, like, what you see is what you get. We're not going to censor anything. And then you have the day one censorship patch.
Yeah, definitely Shift Up isn't the one calling for this. Shift Up knows that the aesthetic stuff sells, and it sells really really well. You know,
Yeah.
it's a proven market model. So the fact that the only other person who could influence that would be Sony in this case, as I believe they're either the licensor or the publisher in this case.
I think they have a contract for Sony exclusive, and when that happens, you get a team from Sony that plays your game, and they make sure that every patch, every aspect of the game is akin to Sony's TOS.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, that could be the source. Then in that case, if they went through a screen and they didn't match the screen,
Yeah.
then it's possible that they would have a mandated patch.
And I think the game has become a cultural icon at this point. There are many people that do not like what's happening in the industry, and we had more than 5 years to notice an interesting trend, especially when it comes to Sony and the game journalists. They are willing to push homosexuality quite aggressively. Like, if you look at Baldur's Gate, they have penis dynamics. Like when your character moves, that is the engine that makes sure that the penis bounces in accordance to the motion.
They have a skeletal motion model for the dong. Yes, they do.
Yes. The sex scenes as well. Like they you have a sex scene where you're having this succubus that has the facial features of a man that's on top of you.
Yep.
And that's perfectly fine.
Dude,
And
they have straight up bestiality.
they have straight up bestiality, yes.
Yeah.
And then you
Like,
have other video games like what is it called?
you want to just speaking about that part. I have an interesting question to posit you here.
mm,
So bestiality is illegal in a lot of states. I'm talking straight up freaking illegal.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Why was that game allowed to go through and not get banned in those states?
I think people just don't care, or if it's like, it's treated differently. If it
Yeah,
comes from
that's
Sony, yeah, like if it comes from Sony, no one batters an eye. But like, let me put it this way, the TV
Yeah,
show
but
Cooties, right? If I was to make the director's cut for that, I would be arrested. But if a French social justice activist does it and it makes it artsy and stuff, then it's fine. It's kind of like that, I guess.
yeah, well, for me, for me, it shows the real hypocrisy of it all, right? Because it's fictional stuff on side A, which we'll say side aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
All of that stuff is really really problematic, despite it being fictional. But then if you go on side B, where you have the side bestiality, that doesn't matter because it's fictional.
I mean,
Where
the
does the
problem.
needle move between those two fucking
Oh,
sides,
I'll tell
right?
you. I'll tell you what it moves, right? Like if you look at Life is Strange, if you played it, it's got an
I have
implied
not.
it's got an implied lesbian relationship between two underage girls. And that's fine,
Okay.
right? Like it's on PlayStation. You can download the game. But the moment you have like a game from Asia, the moment, and this is what people notice, right? Like if it's Western degeneracy, it's being
Yeah.
promoted, it's mainstream. But the moment you have like a game with an anime aesthetic, oh my god, cover those tits up. What are you doing? And this is what bothers a lot of people, which is why Stellar Blade is a cultural hallmark now. It's part of the culture war. It's like we are sick and tired of you just bullying the Asian developers. Just leave them alone. Let them create
Yeah.
their games and compete with them.
We went through this whole thing with Nier Automata,
Yeah,
with Yoko Taro and all of that. Like we went through this exact goddamn nonsense.
yeah,
And now 2B is a feminist icon.
yeah.
Like how long is it until that coin flips too, right?
Well, I guess until the next one, and then we're going to see Stellar Blade as a feminist icon.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you take a look at the way I believe her name is Eve. I don't have
Yeah,
on
it's Eve. It's
PlayStation,
Eve.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm catching glimpses of it when I'm looking on Twitch and shit. But she carries herself with confidence.
Yeah.
right? And it's not just I'm not just talking about like the posture of the model or anything like that, but like what few parts I even did get, like the voice acting seems on point, the dialogue is it
Oh, it's a wonderful
reinforces the
game.
character's point
I've
of
played
view.
it.
Like
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's like
amazing.
when you listen to the character talk, you feel that the character actually has a character. It's not just a model just to spout an agenda,
I
right?
don't know. The game journalist told me that she's not charming. I guess she's not
Well,
like Abby, right? Like Abby is charming. That's Eve is not charming according to the Californian standards.
oh well. Oh no. Anyway,
Yeah, no, like unironically, like I looked at IGN and IGN was going through it, and they're okay. So gameplay really good, soundtrack amazing, character is not charming. She's boring and bland, and I'm like, really? Are you
when you
surrounded by
cast the
women like
silence.
that in your life that you find them boring and bland now?
Yeah, it's like when you're at that point where you absolutely have to find something to shit on, right?
Yeah, literally, because that's the vibe that I got. It's oh well, it's part of the controversy, so you can't give it a 10. And the journalists are review bombing. All of them are giving sevens out of spite. And you look at what the article says, like what they wrote about it, and it's like, oh yeah, game is amazing. Like I love the gameplay. I love the graphics.
Everyone that I see playing it is. I mean, with there were some exceptions, I guess. You know, action games like that are not always for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But the vast majority of people that I've been listening to all love the combat system. It feels
Yeah.
very fluid. Like the motion mechanics, like there's no jitter. It seems to be well optimized for the PlayStation as well. I don't think I've seen it crash.
No.
So
It
compared to
works
most
on
other
launch.
games,
It works on launch. I mean, this is the bar that we're setting, right? Like with AAA development, it actually starts on the launch date.
yeah, like this is as far as a AAA launch goes. This is a pretty smooth fucking wave. Like it's not bad.
It's holy
Like,
shit. It's like 2010.
why
Like...
why isn't Shift Up a mobile developer, by the way, right? Who has made the jump to use like I'm pretty sure PlayStation has one of the most like insanely complex development kits to work with. Because classically, PlayStation has always been a nightmare to work with, just in general. And these guys make the jump, produce this like this nicely produced package here. Like let's set all the fan service shit aside. They do a great launch, and everyone's shitting on them because
they're Asian.
I'm gonna
I swear to fucking God, it's because they're Asian. If they would have worked with Sweet Baby, it would have been Game of the Year. Everyone would be like, oh my God. I mean, Hades. I don't know if you're aware of it. It's also
Yes,
got
I
like
am.
naked women and naked goddesses and shit. But they partnered with one of these Western consultancy groups, and all the journalists are like, oh my God, oh, it's so artistic. Oh, look at Aphrodite naked. Oh, you go, queen.
Yeah,
And
they
it's
bought their goodwill.
yeah, no. They
That's what
they
those-
paid the
those companies
protection
are
money.
for.
They paid the protection money is what they did.
Exactly. They bought the goodwill. It's the same principle like what the Better Business Bureau used to be, right?
Yeah.
You can put your name in it, and at the end of the day, if you want your shit to look like it's good, you have to pay them $300 every few years, right? It's you pay for the favorable exposure.
American Outlier, thank you for the 5 memberships and $2. Hi V, hope your day is good. Stellar Blade under fire. Rated Terror, thank you for the $5. V, Mel on stream, tell him to keep away from my favorite e-girl. Who's your favorite e-girl? Are you close to an e-girl, Ors?
Am I?
I don't know. Oh, I think
I know a
I think
couple,
I am.
but-
No, I think I'm the e-girl, and you should stay away from this. What Rated Terror is trying to say. Because I do the VTube thingy, so.
Oh well, he's afraid of the notice me senpai syndrome. Man.
Yeah.
Alright,
Anyway, I know we're passionate about Stellar Blade, so let's move on, because otherwise we'll be stuck in this topic and not go on the other things we were supposed to talk about. This one was very interesting. This is peak competition here. We got Penn's Transgender Swimmer, which won last year the gold medal. She lost against Yale's Transgender Swimmer in a hotly contested Women's Ivy League 100-meter race.
Wow. Do you see a pattern?
No, I you know what? A lot of people were upset about this, about the transgenders competing, and I was like, look, why do I pay money to watch sports? I don't pay money to watch, a fair game. I don't like it when the teams are equal. I like to see one team completely demolished by another, like at
You
the
want to see the
FIFA.
stomp? All right.
Yeah. Like at the FIFA World Cup when you had Brazil just absolutely demolished by Germany. You know, like it was like 9-2, I think, or 7-2. That's the shit I pay to watch. Like that is entertainment, right? So when you see my favorite female athlete, Miss Hannah Mousey, let me see if I can find some pictures of her.
All right.
Like Hannah Mousey is, I believe in the women's handball. Yeah. So like
Handball, like water polo.
No. You pick the ball by your hand and you throw it.
Oh yeah. All
I mean,
right.
like that lady. I think when she throws the ball, it's got like anime sound effects with it. You know, like if she, just look at it. Hold on, like because I need to show the chat this as well, so they can know what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, toss it over.
Yeah, like when this lady throws the ball, it probably is like, like there's an entire group of people doing the sound effects for the impact.
Yeah, it's like that comical shot where they just like pivot and then throw and suddenly there's a sonic boom.
Yeah, literally with the like yeah. This lady can definitely cast Sonic, but I pay money to see this. I would not ironically go pay money to see Hannah Mousey play because it's entertaining. So I mean it's good business, right?
I mean, you do go to a sport to see a spectacle or to see people you're interested in to play the game, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise that's just you can buy cheaper beer at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like, come on. But like, I'm honestly like sympathetic to the women who are there and who were there trying to uphold their sport, and this shit is happening.
Oh, I'm sympathetic as well. I mean, hold on, let me show you. Oh, I found. Hold on, I found my favorite one. Look at this,
yeah,
right?
Like me, I think everyone should have their place, right? But this.
No. Like look, imagine the bravery required. Like if you're one of those ladies and you gotta take little ball away from big lady.
Yeah.
Like that requires a lot of bravery. I mean, you're risking an arm and a leg just by going in there.
Yeah, you could be bravery. First, like on one side, going up against them they could be bravery, but the ones that are participating in it, it could be bravery. It could also be narcissism. Like,
look at the first picture. Like, tell me that if she hits that ball into the ground, it's not going to make a sound effect.
Look at the difference in muscle density. Look at the difference in bone structure.
Do you think South Park will make an episode about this?
Well, they already did.
They already did, yeah.
I think they did it twice now.
It looks like a world boss, This reminds me when I was in World of Warcraft and I had to get my entire guild. They would prep up with consumables and stuff, and you have like 25 people going up against the world boss.
Yeah, this reminds me of like the idea if there were like Valkyrie as an infantry unit. That's the kind of.
Oh my god! Size. Oh shit! Jacob.
Then again, taking a look at the picture, like culturally speaking, it could also be a difference from like people from different regions and different nations also have different heights and different builds. So, yeah. Yikes, man. Still.
Yeah. Jacob Andrew, thank you for the 25 rod. Compare Stellar Blade to the launch of Cyberpunk, Battlefield, and Starfield.
Oh damn, yeah.
And Diablo.
Yeah. No service issues, very few availability issues. Even the demo went down a couple of times because it was way more popular than they expected and they had problems with like VM scaling. But like they did it right. People should be handing it to them at this point. Like instead the reviewers just can't handle the fact that no, you're not supposed to win based fuck company. You're not supposed to win. But yeah, sorry, the W's on their side. It's taking time for reality to catch the fuck up with them.
Yeah, I think it's literally you hit the nail on the head with this. It's the journalists told you who's supposed to be winning. Like, they told you who you're supposed to be cheering. The influencers are in, and they're saying
Yeah.
you need to cheer for this game, and they're livid that you're cheering for another game. That's exactly what's happening.
Yep. I mean, personally, like just look at Hogwarts Legacy for an example. Completely different reason why that game was blackballed, right?
Yeah.
Completely ignored, despite all of the tender love and care that went into assembling that game. Like, yes, it had its faults and all of that stuff, and the like when you go outside and the repetitive combat, etc. But you got to admit, the sight of Hogwarts is immaculate.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful.
I still haven't played it. As soon as I finish making my game, I'll have to play Hogwarts and Stellar Blade.
Yeah, and that game got completely ignored, just passed over as if it was like the unwanted child. Like, it's just, I don't know.
So
I find the bias really stupid.
Your favorite company, Ubisoft, has been sending an internal memo saying the following. First, we want to make it very clear that we do not accept hate, harassment, and other forms of abuse in any way. I can imagine, like a mother being there wiggling her finger. It's like, you naughty, naughty boys! Do you not know that here we do not accept any hate or harassment? And it's funny because, like, this is the internal memo, right? Like, it's to their developers, which are probably indoctrinated with this on a daily basis. Like, when they gotta go to the corporate retreats and they gotta listen to the plump HR lady recite the mantra, it's like, here at Ubisoft, we do not accept hate, harassment, and other forms of abuse, amen, But anyway, right.
HR, communications team, the solution escalate to a point where you should feel unsafe. Contact Ubisoft Security and Risk Management, the SRM team. Ooh, man, they've got an internal corpo think team. Look at that.
Yeah. Do you think they come in? Hold on. Do you think they come in like fully geared like a SWAT team, like those people that go in prisons to break up riots, and they have like full riot gear with shields? It's like, someone doesn't feel unsafe, press the button. Woo.
This is Ubisoft. This is way more insidious than that. It would be like one central guy in like one of those long doctor coats and all that, and the shiny glasses that always seem to reflect the light, and then four goons behind him with shock sticks.
Yeah, it's like, he made me feel unsafe. He made the joke. Click, 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 click.
Do you feel unsafe?
Yeah. I have a heart condition. Click, 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 click.
Thank you for letting us know.
Jesus, you actually do really great voice acting for like one of those people with glasses that always reflect the sunlight.
I think my tabletop players would say the same.
So anyway, listen. If you are exposed to or witness any negative behaviors, I love like negative behaviors are like radiation. It's like Chernobyl exploded when someone cracks a joke. If you are exposed to or witness any negative behaviors towards your colleagues online, do not hesitate to reach out to your manager. Can you imagine like being the manager at Ubisoft? Like, you probably have more important shit to do. And someone goes like, and you're like, yeah, come in. Yeah, Skullfuck47 told Nancy to go fuck herself online, and I was told to report this to you.
Good God. I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of really, like, basically shelf space filler middle management people that are just there to ensure things don't collapse from the inside out. You're right? To give a semblance of a hierarchy of authority and responsibility. But at the end of the day, having worked in HR and like internal auditing for a lot of these types of companies, I can already say that this kind of stuff is just there for, like, if you can attract the people who are saying things a certain way, right? You can build up a file, and then in the event that you need a reason to clear someone, you then have you have ammo. Basically.
Yeah, it's like the Soviet Union.
Things are just dog whistles. They're dog whistles. Man.
Yeah, I kept telling people, like, this is how Soviet Union operated. Like, everyone had the file, right? So you were encouraged to rat on your neighbors. Your boss was encouraged to rat on you. Your teachers were encouraged to rat on you. And usually what they would do, it's like, well, like, he said something negative about the party. And they would just put it in a file and just leave it there. Now,
that's right.
If you wanted to get a promotion, or if you were inconveniencing someone, or if they wanted something from you, like let's say you were a prosecutor and they wanted you to pass a certain decision in a case, they would bring your file. And they would look through your file and they'd be like, oh, so 12 years ago you said this and this and that about the party, right? Very offensive. Do you want us to leak it to the press, or do you want us to make it go away? If you want us to make it go away, then don't run for office. Take your mind off that promotion. Pass this decision that we want you to pass. And I think it's very similar to HR, right? Like every developer has got his own file. And the moment
when you're in any company that has, especially when you start getting to the point where you have 500 people or more, everyone has a file.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah.
And
and
some
they
of
just
the
leave
stuff
it
is
there.
auto-collected. Some of the stuff can be auto-flagged just by keywords that you put into Teams or Slack or your emails. But the rest would be manually inserted, but everyone has a file.
So the best thing to do when you're at a company, and ironically, like, if I could start life all over and I get hired at a Californian company, what I would do, I would have a separate social media for shit posting and whatnot, completely detached to my main accounts. And while I'm at the company, I'm not socializing, I'm not talking with anyone, just like the bare necessity, the bare minimum to do the job. You go in, you do the work, you get out.
Yep.
You don't socialize, you don't talk to people, you don't write emails.
Don't tell people at work what your socials are, because I can tell you right now, having written my own bots to do social media scanning algorithms, they can and will add your social media to your profile.
Oh yeah.
Not,
Absolutely.
Not everyone can pay for the auditing for like a screening to take place, but you'd be surprised at how much HR can collect on you when they have an HRIS system like, say, Workday or whatever, keeping track of all of their people.
Yeah, I wouldn't tell them if I'm married. I wouldn't tell them if I'm expecting a child. Good God. Like, none of those are anything that the company should know about. The less they know about you, the better. Like, treat it like working in the Soviet Union, unironically. But anyway, right, so Ubisoft says that if you're exposed to the hate speech, we are here to help. Should a situation escalate to a point where you feel unsafe, please contact the Ubisoft Security and Risk Management team. Jesus fuck. God.
You see, the real scary part about this, the real scary part about this is that, let's say that you have a small group of people. Let's say there's like a group of 5 who think a certain way, and they want to ostracize and hip check someone of a certain way. They can go 5 versus 1 and instigate, and then together go to HR to file a complaint.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's a 5v1 situation, right?
Yeah. So SR,
like I said, it's a goddamn dog whistle. That kind of speech is very scary.
Yeah, so SRM has a team of dedicated staff to manage security concerns. They will assess the severity of the situation. See, like they're enlightened. They are trained to assess severity. And provide personalized guidance. Holy shit. I mean, these experts. As always, report immediate and severe personal safety. You know, like, my fucking God. When you make a game, and you want it to take place in a very authoritarian hellscape, you would have, like, literally this plastered on the wall, like, citizen, report severe personal safety concerns to your local emergency number. Like, would you do that?
If your neighbor has any behavior that could be suspect or otherwise makes you feel uncomfortable, call the discomfort company and management system.
Yeah, like holy shit, you unironically, like, Ubisoft, listen. I know there's a Ubisoft guy listening to me. Like, pitch this into your boss. Make your company policy into a city-wide policy and put that in a fucking video game. I guarantee to you it would sell.
Let me read the next part here, because this shit is where the real screw turns.
Yeah.
Given the current polarization of this topic online, we believe that having a respectful and constructive dialogue is difficult, if not impossible, to achieve.
Yeah, so we can't talk to our customers. They're literally flipping the table. Spitting the tea, and it's like, we can't talk to the customers anymore. The customers are too fucking unreasonable. They're evil, goddammit. They're fucking evil. They do not accept the holy sanctity of diversity, inclusivity, and equity. We tried talking to them. We tried lecturing to them, but they do not fucking listen. Just take their money and block them. Just take their money, reach into their fucking pockets, get those $120 for deluxe edition, get those $20 extra for DLC, and then fucking block them. They're evil.
Tell us how you really feel, V.
This is probably unironically how I view these people. That's like how they're thinking.
But
They're looking at you, Ors, and you know what they see? They see a pay pig. They see a man that they want to humiliate. They're disgusted by you, but they covet your wealth. They look
now
at
you
your
know why
wealth
I haven't bought
salivating.
anything. You know why I haven't bought anything Ubisoft in a while.
And they're seething, Ors. They're seething because of that.
But let's take a look at the context, because I'm a context sucker.
Right.
So those two lines already they reveal two things. First of all, that they already stand on one side or the other. So they've already made up their minds what is the right dialogue to have and what is the right thing, right? They don't care what the context would be.
Yeah, you can't persuade them. They're bigots. Yeah.
Yeah, so even if you're on, say, I'm going to use left and right because generally speaking, if you really want to fuzz all the details, it does come down to that kind of current thinking right now, just mentally speaking. But even if let's say you're on the conservative side or the right side, and they have the preponderance to the left, just to really simplify it, it doesn't matter if your argument is correct. You're already on the wrong side.
If you want to, if you want to make it left or right,
scary shit.
Yeah, like imagine an alternative universe and it's the Bush era, but they have the technology we have now. So all the companies are trying to virtue signal that they're Christians, and they're not. Like they're not worshiping Jesus, but they want the aesthetic. They want the Christian aesthetic, right? So they're basically saying like, no, the way we do things is pious and holy, and the customer is ungodly. The customers, they're atheistic, they're heretic, they don't believe in Jesus. So dialogue with them is impossible. That would be the exact opposite of what we're seeing here. Like they adopted an ideology. And they're not anti-racist. They're racist as fuck, right? But they like the aesthetics of being seen as anti-racist.
They like having a bludgeon. It's a cudgel. A fucking war mace that they can use to crush whatever issue that they have to crush with, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All they have to do is color it, turn the problem into a nail, and the hammer can be really useful.
Exactly. Yeah. And they're basically saying,
Snake Dude for Life there has report any suspicious jokes. This message is precious. Right on right there, man. That's the double talk that they've got.
Yeah, so they're basically telling their developers to put their accounts on private and do not engage with the customer. That's their solution. So they're basically like noticing, okay, well, what we're doing is very unpopular with the market and is creating a huge controversy. But we're right, the market is wrong. Block everyone, mute everyone, and keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, they are like layering over, but at the end of the day, they're basically telling their people to protect themselves and their subordinate social media accounts, which is good. Like honestly, the underling people that are doing whatever work that's assigned to them, it's not right to go after them and harass them. You know, a lot of them are probably just towing the line and trying to get their next paycheck to keep their mortgage afloat. But the leadership needs to be put on blast. That to the point.
Yeah, it shouldn't get to this point. Like you as a company shouldn't have the problem where you're telling you. I mean, the people who make Nikkei don't have this issue. You know, they don't have their developers needing to private their accounts and stuff. Like they have really great relationships with their fan base.
They have an excellent relationship with their fans. They even participate and incorporate the fans' memes into the games.
Exactly.
Like that's a healthy relationship between market and customer.
Yeah, you shouldn't get to the point. Yeah, you shouldn't get to the point where you're like, oh yeah, just block the fans because they're evil.
Yeah, like maybe like if you get to the point where you have to block your fans, you should really be asking yourself, why are the fans being so ravenous?
Yeah,
because fans want to fanboy.
Yeah,
they want something to love. They want something to believe in. They want something to enjoy and devour. That's the nature of wanting to use these types of media, right? We want to be part of that fucking universe and enjoy it, like get a good goddamn experience. And instead, what we have is, it's like we expect a smooth road. You know, we strap on our fucking skates or whatever, or we put on the wheels, and instead, all we have is like broken glass.
Yeah.
Why does the company want to provide friction against its own user base? It makes no sense.
Because Larry Fink has more money than you. That's why.
Well, yeah. In this case here, that's where it really started, because these companies only really started giving a shit about this particular agenda when it started getting attached to $1 billion of hedge fund money that they can use to float their to basically float their HR and overhead costs.
Yeah. Zenothia for
Weird
$5.
goddamn house of cards, man.
Zenothia says, good evening, V. How was your Sunday? It's great. I'm waiting for DK dailies to reset, because I actually like the tower defense game. God. Rating Terror, thank you for $5. I feel sympathy for the trans women facing bigotry from the TERFs who think that trans women aren't real women. I feel the same, Rating Terror. I feel the same. Also, V, don't forget Baldur's Gate 3 and The Last of Us 2 having uncensored scenes, but they censor Stellar Blade. Oh my god, we're going to go back to this. Okay, I'll tell you one more thing. You probably didn't know this, but Xbox was banning people for uploading the sex scenes from Baldur's Gate on the cloud. So
yeah, that's an old story, yeah.
Yeah, but like you could just go into the game that Xbox like freely provided for people, uploaded sequence from the game, and you would get your account banned. Like without any context, without anything. And it's like, okay, so like that game was that bad, but there's nothing from Stellar Blade that you could upload which would get you banned. Because Stellar Blade doesn't have a single sex scene in it. Oh my god, can you fucking imagine? Can you fucking imagine if it actually did have a sex scene in it?
Like, with the amount of attention and detail that they put into the, like, model motion and physics, like, yeah.
Yeah, no, imagine if it had, like, a Baldur's Gate type sex scene in it. Or, oh, The Last of Us 2, The Last of Us 2 sex scene, right? Where, again, there's no foreplay, there's no nothing. He just turns the woman around, bends it over, and just claps her cheeks. Imagine if they did that in Stellar Blade. Holy fucking shit.
The entire digital gaming journalism like horizon would have turned into a collective wasteland as all of their friggin' systems melted down at the same time.
Yeah, like honestly, if I was a billionaire and I had fuck you money, I would do it, and I would just copy paste every single frame from The Last of Us 2, so that if they complain, I'm like, well, why? You guys cherish this. Like, why is this scene good and my scene not?
You rapid fire respond to them in a thread so that when you scroll down, you play out the scene.
Yeah, it's like literally you play them side by side. Would be funny if Naughty Dog copyright strikes you for stealing their animations. Zanathio, thank you for the 1 membership. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what else we got, because yeah, last week was very interesting. This is from Visengard.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, so this is a sort of like news aggregator on Twitter. I prefer it because it talks about breaking news as it happens. And they're basically showing a video recorded a few minutes ago and sent to us by Columbia University student. The tent city is growing, and student protesters have now declared that they have taken over the university and made it into a people's university. So basically, they're making like this homeless tent. This homeless city in front of the university.
Yeah, well, wait until they find out about accreditation and how it will affect all of the degrees of everyone who's attending in those years, because the service must be maintained to a very specific level in order for the diplomas to be considered valid. That's pretty scary when you think about it, that these people are likely putting down, the equivalent of what, tens of thousands of dollars per semester, or not per semester, but per year, but $1,000 per semester.
Well, it's borrowed money, right? So it doesn't feel as if it's coming from their pockets yet. It just went to a bank, they signed the document, and then they're allowed to attend the university. So it doesn't feel as if you work for that cash. But the thing is,
it's protesting for people who don't understand what they're actually fighting for.
Yeah, I mean, there is actual video evidence of that. I don't know if I have it here.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Like there is a protest, and they're going and here we go. Right. So they're asking this lady, it's like, what are you protesting? And she's like, I don't fucking know. And she got to ask a friend of hers, and the friend of hers doesn't know either. So please be quiet for 30 seconds while I play this for the chat, and then we can discuss it.
Yeah, you got it, man.
Goal with tonight's protest?
I think the goal is just showing our support for Palestine and demanding that NYU stops. I honestly don't know all of what NYU's doing.
Is there something that NYU's doing?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they're... Do you know what NYU's doing? About what? About Israel. Why are we protesting here?
I love it. Like, they're all chanting and screaming, and it's like, Why are we protesting here? I don't know. I don't know why we're protesting, but it's about Israel, right? Yeah.
Man, they could have been protesting to resurrect the corpse of Bin Laden. They wouldn't even know about it.
Yeah, actually, as someone that studies agitation and propaganda, I know exactly what they're doing. Like most of these activists, the issue is never the issue. This is about getting influencers and community organizers so that when they want to make an actual protest, they can summon those people. It's kind of like networking, right?
Yeah, fake grassroots.
Yeah, fake grassroots. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
AstroTurf grassroots.
Yeah, well, you go to these protests, you meet a lot of people, right? Like, imagine this: you're a young man with no goal in life. Like, you got a general goal, but like you're autistic, you're alone, you don't have many friends. You join these protests and you make friends with a lot of people, right? And then they get you in their little clique. And they will say, oh, you hang out with us and we'll take care of you. And, sometimes maybe they actually will try to, like, find you a job or go to various events. But when there's, like, a riot or there's something planned, they call you up and they're like, okay, well, you're going to go to this place and you're going to, throw this brick into this window.
Yeah, you become an easy at name. And it makes a lot of sense, V, because, like, in consulting and shit, right?
Yeah.
When you go to these, like these Oracle... like events, like these conventions and all that, you go there to rub shoulders with other people and exchange, like, basically social media, like LinkedIn stuff and business cards for people who still use business cards with a bunch of people and other members of the general, I guess you could say, the industry that you're going for the convention for, right?
Yeah.
And then these people become part of your network, and then you can usually thresh out the people who are worth keeping around, the people who aren't, or who are just going to be an easy reply or like repost of stuff that you put in for whatever. But the principle is the same. So yeah, very plausible that that's what's going on.
I think it's the same like in the World Economic Forum. Like, a lot of people go there not to listen to, the environmentalist bullshit and everything else. They go there to rub shoulders with other people. To have business meetings.
I mean, imagine the real, like, because there are actual, like, organizations, like small organizations, kind of like, think of the equivalent of, like, of course, like, I can't think of the name, but like Greenpeace or whatnot, but only for, like, let's say, Just Stop Oil and all of that shit. Some of these groups actually get hundreds of thousands of dollars from like either I can't say VC money, but easy trust fund money, right? Yeah. Some of these groups actually have, like, a vein that they can tap, like the goddamn parasite, like they are. So smaller groups and other people are going to gravitate to them to see if they can find and tap that same vein.
Yeah, exactly.
Power attracts the power hungry.
Like, here's the funny thing. A couple of years ago, I don't know if this is still the case, but like many environmentalist groups in Germany were paid by Russia. Like, the Russian government was sending funds to a lot of environmentalist groups.
Yes.
And this was an actual big scandal. And it makes sense, right? Because, like, they wanted Germany's energy sector to go down so that they can rely on the Russian-Germany pipeline.
That's right. They gave them money with the express purpose for disruptive action. Right.
Yeah. Like, you have a German coal industry going on, or a power plant. Oh, they're protesting that. But, like, the pipeline with Russia, no protest, just fine. They just don't seem to notice it. It's the same like Greta Thunberg. Like, notice how she's never protesting China. She doesn't talk shit about China.
Nope, never. Not a single time.
Yeah.
Despite them doing more damage to the environment for all of the countries around them. Instead, what are we worried about? Coal mining.
Coal mining, yeah. Coal mining.
Oh no, coal mining in Germany a couple of months ago. Now it was like some anti-oil investment thing. Like, it would be great to be able to get rid of oil and all of that hydrocarbon shit that's turning into fluorocarbons into the air. That would be great, thumbs up. But we ain't there yet as a world, right? Until we find some other like miraculous fuel, we need oil. It's kind of stupid to think that we don't. Like, we need oil just to make our goddamn medicine. If we don't have oil and oil processing, pharmaceuticals go away.
Yeah.
Like,
someone
these
said
people
that my
not think
audio.
about what they're doing.
Someone said that your audio is too low and I'm too loud, so I lowered myself a little bit. Hopefully.
All right, sorry. I did have the microphone down low on my side, but I've
Yeah,
adjusted.
I raised you a little bit, so hopefully it's fine now. Not a
All
bad
right.
account, Romania. No real communism has never been tried. And I think like communism has been tried. It's just that it works too well. Like it makes everyone equally miserable. So equality is achieved.
Yeah, the only people who say real communism hasn't been tried are the people who like to pretend real communism hasn't been tried.
Yeah.
Because everyone that's trying communism has real communism starting out, and then it doesn't work. So then they have to scramble to figure out what the hell they want, and people only remember what it was like at the end of when it all falls apart, not what it was like when it got there. But communism has been tried. It doesn't work.
So listen to this, right? The Daily Mail, my favorite newspaper, says, "Cougars in the classroom. The alarming rate of teachers charged with raping young boys in America. The crimes have happened in 16 states from California to New York. Many of these predatory teachers are married with their own children." And you know, like you're scrolling down and you're looking at their faces, and they don't look like ladies that wouldn't be able to find men their age in order to fornicate with.
They look perfectly fine.
Yeah, they look perfectly fine. Like if I see this lady coming into my house, you know, I would treat her nicely. I wouldn't be afraid of her. I wouldn't suspect that there is the mind of a dangerous predator looming behind her beautiful eyes.
Yeah. Well,
What do you think? What do you think forces them to behave this way?
I wouldn't say they are forced to behave that way. There's always a percentage of people who are going to be aberrant from what we would consider to be, you know, good standing people, right?
Yeah.
The issue is the reason why this is well, here again I'm going to express this in my opinion, all right? In my opinion, the reason why we're seeing more and more of this happening at the level of teaching is because teaching is not a rewardable or a lucrative or even sustainable career path, right? Actual intelligent people who have bills to pay and loans to pay and all of that stuff, and who also love to teach. There's a lot of them. However, the median salary, right, for a lot of these teachers is less than $45,000.
So I think they're frustrated because they're not getting paid enough. So
Dude, you can make more money working at McDonald's without having to do any take-home work. And also keep in consideration that varying by different states, teachers are one of the most professions prone to using your own money to fuel your own classroom or to fuel your own work without any reward whatsoever and very little financial compensation. And Texas, for an example, in the picture that you showed me, that's one of the worst states for how much money teachers pay out of pocket just to maintain their own classroom.
Yeah, but okay, I don't think the explanation, they're poorly paid,
yeah,
so
sorry,
therefore
but
they fuck kids.
I'm button
makes any
hooking. Let
sense,
me explain why. So when you have a condition where good people can't make a living, they have to find a way to make a living because good people want to have families, right?
Okay.
So they find a position that's actually lucrative. And instead, you're going to get the most bottom of the barrel people, right? Either the ones who are idealistic and don't understand that they can't really make a living or sometimes have a miraculous condition where they can. And then you have the people who are at the point where they manage to slip through the cracks of a system that's supposed to screen for this shit, right? Because there's a series of background screens and basic stuff that
I
think
most of them are on their first offense because they are screened when they go into teaching, but some people say some people say it's a power fantasy. I personally think that they're looking at the Catholic Church and they're jealous. That's like, why is the Catholic Church in the news and not us? So they're trying to raise the statistics. And I think at this point they're definitely. Oh my God! Look at this Mamacita. Oh come on, dude. The thing that I
believe power fantasy. I believe power fantasy for sure.
The reason that I find it so bizarre is that when you look at the male predators, right? Like most of them look in a way that you would say, well, this person will never end up with the woman, right? So you kind of rationalize that the reason they did is what they did is because they feel as if they don't have, like a burglar, like he thinks, oh, I'll never have this amount of money, so therefore I'm going to rationalize crime in order to get it. But you're looking at these women, and it's like, they can have like perfectly healthy lives. They don't have to commit crime. There is no justification, not for the crime committed, but like the reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
It's so. God.
It's definitely not because they didn't have access to it on their
Yeah.
own. So whatever it is either a compulsion or a conscious choice.
You know what the left would say, right?
I'm not sure.
They come from disparaging households. they had a victim of society. Yeah.
That's a useful smokescreen, isn't it?
So anyway, the article, Jesus,
Smokescreen strategy.
I can see why South Park made the episode where they say nice, but when you think about it, it's not really nice because if the kid ends up getting her pregnant,
yeah,
and she's now going to prison. And you got little Billy, which is 14 years old, and he's expecting a kid that he has to pay for child support. It's not very nice all of a sudden.
Yeah, and there's so many situations that we know now of serial killers and deranged people and such that we know were molested when they were younger. It does damage to people. There's very little chance that a person who goes through a sexual experience without preparation or context gets out of it without actual harm.
Yeah.
Sure, there are some situations where it could happen. Yeah, playing devil's advocate is great. But at the end of the day, it's goddamn child abuse.
It is. Dozens of female teachers have been arrested this year, according to the nations for sex crimes involving students, as the seeming number of cougars in the classroom continues to grow. A long line of female teachers allegedly involved with youngsters across the country dominates the headlines. More than 25 female teachers have been arrested in 16 states only in the last year. And it is feared to be merely the tip of the iceberg, as there appears to be no centralized data to collect and track this disturbing trend. In the last month, married New Jersey teacher Jessica Salkovich, 37, was arrested after the cops found her half naked in the backseat of a teen's car at Wildlife Center. The mother of two allegedly admitted to police she and the student had unprotected sex at least 5 times. In Nebraska, 45-year-old Erin Ward was arrested after being caught naked in the backseat with a teen boy. The substitute teacher is married to a Department of Defense official and was quickly arrested at the scene by the cops. Many of the accused female teachers charged in the last year are married, and one was even named Teacher of the Year.
Teacher of the Year. But, man, that's like a senator that breaks into houses or something.
Oh my fucking god! Oh Jesus! Was it before or after?
Yeah, that's where the question really comes in. It's like, was this on the record? And if so, who the hell was this teacher up against? Like, who's the next person in line?
No, I want to know if it was before or after she committed the crime that she was named Teacher of the Year. They don't mention in the newspaper. The teachers are enticing students with sexually charged text, nude photos, and videos before and during the physical encounters. What do you mean, like during the physical encounter? Like while she's having the encounter, she's sending text on your phone? Like what the fuck? Leading child psychologist. Hold on, we got a shrink here. Dr. Michelle Oberschreider of Ansbach Psychologist Sever said, social media influence has contributed to the abuse. Oh, well, I'm glad that we moved the problem to something else rather than the teacher. No, it's Facebook to blame, yes.
Well, with the TikTok ban, that'll all go away, won't
it?
Yeah,
with the TikTok ban, it will all go away. My fucking god, like literally anything besides putting the blame on the fucking teacher, right? It's society, it's social media, it's disparaging households. It's like, god.
Personal responsibility in 2024, V.
Yeah. Social media can severely blur the lines between the student-teacher relationship, which can open doors to more inappropriate outcomes. Oh, fuck off. No, like, that's not the case. Like, I know that even in my country, like, again, like, there's no statistic for this, but in my country, there was scandals before social media came along, and you see it on the news that this teacher was caught having an inappropriate relationship with this young man and she was in prison. So, no, like, this happened before social media. He explained that students have more access to their teachers through various online formats, which can lead to inappropriate communication and inappropriate relationships.
I don't know, man. Knowing how these guys set up and how like litigation averse the USA is, all of those teachers had to go through like sensitivity training and normalization training and like spot the signals and report them, and like they go through training to make sure that they identify and they prevent this kind of shit. there's no excuse. There is no excuse for it. They have to sign off and get certified and all of this stuff in order to become a teacher.
Yeah. Here you have, as we've seen in the news, some female teachers are choosing to put out sexually focused content on sites like OnlyFans, Loyal Fans. Why the fuck are they still teachers then?
Not sure.
You know, if you're a prosecutor in my country or a judge or something like that, you're supposed to have a clean record and they look at your social life. And yeah, if you have pictures on inappropriate websites, you're not considered appropriate for the job.
Yeah, a wholesome clause. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or an ethics clause. But then again, if they're not paid enough, I guess that they think that they got to do that shit in order to make up the gap. I don't know, man.
Another contributing factor is the 24 hours news cycle, as most of these cases are being reported. In his estimation, 80% of teachers who abuse students are still predominantly male. Oh, go fuck yourself. First of all, you said that there is no way of knowing how many female teachers do this, right? And there are probably a lot of them that go unreported. And secondly, why is this even part of the conversation? Who cares? Punish both of them. No one is saying, oh, well, a male did it.
That's a deflection statement.
Yeah.
It's a deflection statement. It makes no sense to put it in there at all.
Yeah,
but,
literally.
and even with that, but we do believe that that it's still predominantly male. Yeah, based on what? If you don't have information on how many of them are female, then you don't have information on how many of them are male by proxy, because there's no comparison to be made.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, in the public mind, there does exist the thing. It's like, okay, well, when you think of a predator, you do think like of a creepy old man, right? So like the public mind has that. The reason we're talking about women is because this is so bizarre for most people that they look like, what, really? And you're looking at their pictures, like, what, did that happen, right? And most people also think, oh, like the South Park episode, nice, but it's not nice, right?
No,
and this is why
nice.
it's a headline that's important. And most people are probably realizing that, oh, okay, well, I guess I need to look at little Billy's phone and see what he does on social media.
Well, I mean, I'm not in for the idea of snooping in on everything, but you should be, parents should be involved in their child's life, and those that are teaching, right? They're a custodian position. I think it's a custody position. They're supposed to be responsible and ethical enough to be entrusted with children and like raising your children and teaching them right from wrong, because that's where they learn this shit is in school. They learn a part of it when they're at home, but most of their like cognitive goddamn days are spent dealing with stuff at school and with the people that they go to school with.
Yep.
Right? So it's got to, like, the foundation's got to come from somewhere.
Zamzi has been a member for 1 month and says, I've got good news. I am a 12-year survivor of breast cancer and a 7-year-old survivor of ovarian cancer. That is good news. I hope...
Survivor, hell yeah.
Yeah. I hope you're going to give a similar message 7 years from now. And you're going to say you've been a 14-year-old survivor of ovarian cancer. Christopher Keating, €5. They should come to France. They could become the president's wife. Oof. Oof. Do you know, like, this is very interesting. I was talking about the sensibility difference between the Anglosphere and Europe, and I was pointing out how Europe is less sensitive to sexual stuff, because in America you had, like, Monica Lewinsky, and that created, like, the whole scandal, right? And in France, except for Macron, like, it was known that most French presidents had the mistress.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it was known in the papers, and no one is like, oh, well, I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, this is the president. Of course he's going to have a mistress, yeah.
C'est la vie, vie.
C'est la vie. But yeah, like, most of this sexual puritanical stuff comes from the Anglosphere. Like, regarding the Stellar Blade, covered the tits up stuff. Like, it's mostly from the Anglosphere. People in Europe are not as, how should I say, prudish.
Yeah, we've come a long way from the 15 years ago of women are allowed to walk around topless if they choose to. Now everyone has to cover them up just because they're on a TV screen.
Well, it depends. Like, if it's in the music industry, that is fine. Like, Wet Ass Pussy was trending on YouTube, so.
Yeah, that's true. It really
depends, yeah.
And, I mean, we get to see the Super Bowl halftime shows as well.
This one is interesting. So, Grindr, are you familiar with it?
Well, I mean, by the name of the application, yeah, not that I've used it.
All right. I was checking.
But yeah, I know it.
Grindr is sued for allegedly revealing users' HIV status.
Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. No
Yeah, I
way.
mean, look, it's not COVID, okay? It's not the vaccine status. You can't reveal that shit. Grindr, the world's biggest dating app for the LGBTQ community, is being sued for allegedly sharing personal information such as people's HIV status with third parties. According to the claim lodged at the court in London, covert tracking technology was deployed and highly sensitive information was illegally shared with advertisers.
You have got to be. That's huge. I mean, if this happened in the EU, I mean, in North America, in Canada, and the United States, I mean, for the US, it would be HIPAA. For Canada, there's already another protection act that I don't know the name off the top of my head. But the EU is gonna spike them for this. Holy shit.
The thing that I don't get, now, unironically, I know we have our disagreements regarding this topic, but it's like when it was about COVID, right? It was fine to check for vaccination. It was fine to test people. But
your personal privacy didn't matter when they wanted to test the fucking protocol.
Yeah, but when it's HIV, California now even passed a law. Like, this just mind fucked me as a European. I was like, what the fuck? They passed a law was that if you willingly pass the virus, so like you have it, you're not just a person that's not right. So you willingly pass the virus, it's now a misdemeanor. So it's not like
misdemeanor.
Yes.
Wow.
They changed it from a crime. They lowered it to a misdemeanor.
Yeah, they changed it from a grievous bodily harm felony to a misdemeanor.
Yeah. And I was like, holy shit, like why do we have like this difference in thinking, and like who do you think is going to affect the most? And they're like, oh well, we want to remove the stigma. And I'm like, well, I don't think this removes the stigma though. I think that this causes more harm.
Yeah, that causes a lot of harm. Like people who have a venereal disease, or even worse, an immune disease that can be transmitted sexually, that's part of our goddamn unified responsibility to not spread that shit.
Yeah,
like that's straight up malicious.
Especially when you realize that there are fetishes about spreading it. Like there is.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other creepy ball game there.
Man, there was like this video. This interviewer, I think he was from America and went to Africa, and he was talking with this guy, and he was like, okay, but like you raped that woman, and like, yeah, but like, you got HIV and now she probably has it, like, how do you feel about that? And he's like, I feel powerful.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that exact same one.
And it's like, but now, if you know there are people like this around and you're making it a misdemeanor, like, surely you're adding to the problem rather than removing it.
Well, you ever like, how do you tell someone that, or how do these people show that they don't have any idea how legislation works or the effect that it's going to have, right? Because when we're doing project management, we have something called risk of impact and an impact analysis, right? They're not doing any impact analysis. They're just saying this flags right on our moral compass, so we're going to do this without question. And then it's like, because we already said that it shouldn't be questions, we're not even going to question it. And then they just turn the key on it. Like
I don't think they don't know, because again, like, they're politicians, right? Like, they have AIDS and they have people that help them. I think it's more like some people that do have AIDS, they don't like the fact that, okay, well, it's kind of like you're being castrated. Like, you're not allowed to have sex anymore, right? Because you're transmitting it, so for the rest of your life, you can't do it. And I think it's those people that manage to access positions of power and manage to have access to legislative bodies, and they're pushing for the legislation to pass. Because I can't think of it any other way. Like, it doesn't make any other sense.
It's feel-good legislation in the worst possible light, right? Bad faith. It's bad faith, feel-good legislation.
Yes, right? Luxury beliefs. It's the political term for it. It's beliefs that do not hurt the upper class, but they hurt the lower class a lot.
Yeah, and that's the dangerous type of stuff, because once that right is allowed, that can be used as a precedent. Other flexes that they want to try to put into other stuff that's supposed to be ironclad, they can lean into that and say, well, look at this other thing that's supposed to be considered a lot more sacred, which is
the foot in the door. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
And then
that's how they actually got Roe v. Wade repealed, because Roe v. Wade was passed by a team of cisgender, heteronormative white judges, and they basically said, well, what happens between a doctor and a patient is confidential. So, my body, my choice. And then you have the pandemic, and it's like, well, actually, no, it's not your body, your choice. Get the Pfizer communion, get vaccinated. And, the very diverse Supreme Court of the United States went, well, actually, if you have to show QR code at the McDonald's, then it's not the sacred of the doctor-patient confidentiality. It's a matter of public health. So it's up to the states to decide and to vote for abortion. It's like they're going to have to decide democratically. The founding fathers never mentioned any of that in the Constitution. But it's as you said, right? It's like that created the precedent. Like they used that. They used the pandemic in order to say, well, if we don't have doctor-patient confidentiality for that, then we can't have it for this.
Yeah. Well, beyond this, right? Oh shit! I had an awesome thought and then I lost it, so I suck. So keep going.
Right. Well, according to this, Grindr is saying that the company takes privacy extremely seriously, and the claim appears to be based on a mischaracterization of practices from more than 4 years ago. If the case is successful, claimants could receive thousands of pounds in damages. The claim submitted to the High Court say that they hope to get more than 100,000 pounds in total.
Yeah, but the damage is done. The information's been shared with that third party. Depending on the agreement with that third party that Grindr had, if there's no respect to retransmit, or if they don't catch it before the retransmit is done, or the fact that there's even a copy of it out there to begin with, the information is already out there.
Why the fuck does Grindr even know the HIV status of people, though?
I actually don't know. Who the hell would be stupid enough to provide that to any company anyway?
Yeah. Because the thing is, even if you trust the company, what if they get hacked?
Well, exactly. Like, I have a whole stupid video in one of my archives of exactly this: digital fingerprinting and digital information carrying. Like, that shit follows you for the rest of your life now, man. The cloud ain't going away unless there's a nuclear war.
Grindr owes it to the LGBTQ plus community. It serves to compensate those whose data has been compromised, they said. The dating app is used by 13 million people every month, and Ofcom report from May 2023 found that it was used roughly by 1 million people in the UK. It also had the highest engagement of all dating apps, with people using it for an average time of 6 hours and 40. What the fuck do they do on that app all day? Jesus Christ, 6 hours and 40.
6 hours a day?
Oh, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Sharing sensitive data.
Are you sure? Is that the stat that they gave? The average of 6
people
hours a day?
using it on an average time of 6 hours and 49 minutes that month. Oh, a month. Okay.
Okay, 6 hours a month. So
it's
about 45 minutes a day.
It's probably how much you play Nikkei. Yeah. Instead of talking to their virtual waifus, they were talking with their husbandos. Sharing sensitive data.
Yeah.
According to the claim, the company shared sensitive data with third parties for commercial purposes, violating British laws. The claim alleges it mainly occurred before April the 3rd, 2018, though the data was also shared later on April 2020. It names data analytics companies Aptimize and Localytics as third parties which had access to the sensitive data. However, it says that potentially a limited number of third parties use the data to customize advertisements to Grindr's users. In addition, it's claimed... Okay, what type of advertiser wants to separate between HIV status? Like what product do you have that you want to market directly to a person that has HIV versus one that doesn't? Or vice versa?
Artificial immunity medication companies, people who do, like, companies that do homeopathic medicine and herbal medicine and cure-all teas.
So you imagine like you're on Grindr, trying to get the boot sex, and all of a sudden this herbal medicine pops up.
Oh, the algorithm doesn't give a shit, dude. It sees keywords, it puts an ad, and someone somewhere gets paid.
Naruhodo. Thank you for the €5, Christian. Very simple. You have to take pills with HIV and pharma thanks to politician. Yeah. That's literally how they justified it, right? Because I was looking like, okay, so California now justifies willingly passing HIV into a misdemeanor. And I'm like, well, why? Yeah. And it's like, well, because we got, they didn't say treatment, but they said we have the solution now that you can take the pills and you will be HIV negative. And I'm like, yeah, but like those pills, number one, are expensive, and number two, if it like it's one thing when like I don't know how many people with HIV in Canada in California exist, probably a lot. But like imagine them growing exponentially now that you passed this legislation, right?
That's the thing that bothers me, man, cuz like if it's less of a problem, right? Or even if it gets reported at all, if like who do you report it to if it becomes a misdemeanor? Police don't give a big shit about most misdemeanors because it's a lot of paperwork for almost no action whatsoever. Yeah. Right? At least a felony results in an incarceration or penalties. A misdemeanor typically is just like a chip ass fine and no one gives a real fuck about it unless you're dirt ass poor. So if the police aren't going to give a fuck about it, who's your recourse if someone infects you on purpose? Like that's some twisted shit, man.
Civil lawsuit, I think.
Yeah, but then like what are you gonna do? Take them to small claims and get what $4,999.99 for something you're gonna have to deal with for the rest of your life in the USA, where you're probably gonna have to pay like $5,000 every month just for your prescription? That's some true California Western grade A bullshit.
I agree. Now let's talk about some Germany grade A bullshit. Germany has passed a new law according to Redox magazine. Let me see what Redox magazine is. News and opinion, pro-woman, pro-child safeguarding, anti-bullshit. We are 100% independent. So Germans in the chat, confirm me if this is true. Take this with a grain of salt, okay? Like, I don't know. But they passed a new law that will enable parents to transition their babies starting from the month they are born. The Self-Determination Act also establishes a 10,000 euros fine for exposing a transgender person's biological sex or the necromantical act of dead naming.
Wow. That's some real anti-ritualistic shit. How are we going to summon Cthulhu now?
I don't know, like, the necromancers are some of the most oppressed class. Like, every single time it's like...
Hashtag Free Necro 2024.
Free Necro, yeah. I'm willing to believe it because it's Germany. The thing is, like, this would never happen in Romania, and I'll tell you why. Germany, when they had the Greens winning the elections, now it was on their website as a political party. I haven't followed to see if they actually did pass the legislation. But they wanted to pass two things. Number one, to make it very easy for people to transition legally. So, like, you or could go to the city hall, and they would look at you like, the fuck do you want? And you would be like, I want to become a woman. And they would give you the paperwork, and in the eyes of the law, you are now a woman, right? Like, they wanted to simplify that. And the other
bureaucratic bullshit.
Yeah, the other thing they wanted to do was to give, like, welfare to the LGBT umbrella. So, like, to the LGBT families, right? You know how in Hungary, they give you, like, tax benefits, and they give you welfare if you have a lot of kids? In Germany, they wanted to do that with the LGBT families. And I was thinking, like, dude, if you do this... Yeah, I don't know if they passed it, but it was on their website. So they were planning to do it. I don't know if they actually did it. But if you do this in Romania, every single fucking person, myself included, would just go to the city hall. I'm a woman now. Give me money.
Yeah.
Like, you would have
that's a queue. That's a very weird and very subjective criteria to create an entire program. That's messed up.
Well, it's how you get votes in Europe. It's like, I'll give you free shit, vote for me.
Yikes.
Wait, you're not giving it from your cash, Ors. Like, if you're the politician, you're not opening your wallet.
Yeah, it's hashtag someone else's money.
Yeah. Didn't Biden do this with, like, forgiving student debt? It's the same thing. It's not his money. It's not like he's taking from his wallet and it's like, here, I paid for your student debt. I paid for your gender studies. No, it's someone else's money. And if you don't have it, you print more. Like, who's going to care?
Yeah, and then once the program is in, it becomes someone else's nasty
then you
can't if they want to cancel it. Yeah.
Oh, do you want to know my most controversial opinion ever?
Uh-oh. All right.
Do you know, like, when the government wants something, it incentivizes it with welfare? And when the government wants less of something, it taxes?
Typically, yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you give money to single mothers, like, you're going to get more single mothers. Now, if you were to tax single mothers, you'd get less single mothers.
Yeah, but you're gonna tax a lifestyle choice?
No, just ignore the morality of the issue. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. You're just saying, yeah, you're
Cynically
just
speaking,
talking
you would
dollars to
get
donuts.
less, right?
Yeah, you're talking straight pipe, like just
Yeah.
reward and punishment shit. Yeah, that's true. If you want to incentivize a certain type of behavior, you make it easier or you make it lucrative to make that behavior favorable. Yeah, that's a very
I remember
standard principle.
like angering leftists when I say this. They get really angry. It's like, why are you getting angry? Like, it makes sense what I'm saying. And they're like, it's like, well, are you going to punish a lifestyle choice? And I'm like,
I mean,
no, but like if
the Canada Child Tax Credit was exactly what you're saying. I mean, Canada wanted people to have kids, so they made it easier to have kids, easier to clothe them by giving them like it was something like what when I was growing up was like $250 a month.
Jesus.
I mean, pays for the clothing, pays for shoes.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I don't want to be like China with the one-child policy. Like, we can go over there if you want, but like what I'm saying is that you can just put a tax on this lifestyle, and everyone will be like, holy shit, if I divorce, I get taxed. I'm not going to divorce. I'm going to stay married. Think about it.
I mean, yeah, you're not incorrect. It's you get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for, yeah.
That's what they're paying for.
All right, now we're going to talk about your favorite subject, the TikTok ban. So they tried their best to ban TikTok. They had like their ban TikTok law. It didn't pass because people actually read the thing, and the American government was trying to overreach. And they did the most American thing. It's the law is not called the TikTok ban. It's called the foreign aid. And amongst the pork, you got to notice, oh yeah, we're banning TikTok as well. Here's like some more $1 billion to Ukraine and some couple of millions to Israel. Now, people seem to favor the ban, like in the US. They like the ban.
Yes.
However, China, like the ban says like this: TikTok has to sell.
Yes,
or
they have to divest.
Yeah,
they have to divest the ownership of the company into neutral hands.
Yeah,
They can remain a majority shareholder, but I believe the other 49% has to be divested, or if not, they have to have the 49% and lower.
Yes. Chairman Z is not interested in selling.
No, of course not, and I can understand why.
No, of course. However, I saw the CEO from TikTok today, and he basically said that they're going to challenge this in court.
Yeah, it's not going to go anywhere.
Because they have their community, and he has a duty to the TikTok community, and they build something, and it's wholesome, and yeah.
No, it's because they're terrified. In reality, let's say that they choose to actually sell, right? What would happen is that there would be I'm gonna really simplify the entire term of an acquisition or a divestiture into like we're really gonna gloss over a lot of shit. But they would basically take a snapshot of that corporation where it is now, because now they have to sell. So the intent is to take what they have and sell.
Yeah.
Part of that snapshot, though, is the big thing that they don't want to reveal, which is the algorithm.
Like Twitter, like the Twitter files, you'd have the TikTok files.
Yes, exactly. And ByteDance is not allowed to make a major change to a major part of its business cycle while the actual, like the machine is in the process of being sold, because that would change the value of the actual machine while it's being transferred to a new owner. Now, the machine in this case is going to be the corporate entity, which is ByteDance, which owns TikTok.
Yeah.
So the whole deal is that China, under no circumstance, is going to allow this to take place, because the moment that they allow like a third-party due diligence machine to come in and audit them, the U.S. is going to have a copy of the algorithm, and they will probably be able to see all of the stuff that the CIA is really concerned about when it comes to any sort of social media, which is targeted algorithmic cycling of people who are using the system. So
yeah, because
China knows.
The interesting
China
thing,
knows, yeah.
I don't know if you tested it, but if you have a VPN and you log in TikTok as if you're from China, you get very wholesome videos. You get videos like how to build a chair, how to get into carpentry, how to...
Douyin is a very different experience than TikTok. Under any circumstance.
Which books to study in order to understand how to create a business, how to work hard. Now, if you log in TikTok from anywhere else in the world, especially from America. Fat acceptance, LGBTQ. I mean, the whole Libs of TikTok account on Twitter is literally American TikTok, right? With teachers that are like, oh, how are we going to crack the egg? We the pronouns.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were saying, well, maybe this is what people from America want to see, and I'm like, bull fucking shit. Like, TikTok is a platform, and it's got an algorithm. It's not like the phone company where you just get it's just like YouTube, like Facebook, like it shows you what the algorithm wants you to see, and I don't think that in China everyone wants to see wholesome videos, but in America everyone wants to see, the corpo stuff. So that algorithm would be out there and exposed.
Yeah, because you have to understand that the algorithm will have a lot of subcategories and subcomponents as part of its like integration, right? Because not everyone gets filtered. Think of it like a big filtration machine, right? You input a bunch of marbles at the top, and then depending on the color, the weight, or the size of the marble, right, it gets fed through a different pipeline, and that pipeline is what controls what your content is being fed to you.
Yeah.
So the whole deal is that, like, if you take a look on, like, we both go on YouTube, we know there's a bunch of places that are basically shitting on the TikTok algorithm because there's a lot of really creepy stuff that happens. Like, you go in with, like, a neutral social media profile state, and within, like, a couple of hours, you start getting into some really creepy content.
I mean,
nowhere,
the Bin
right?
Laden's letter was trending on TikTok. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah,
but literally
of course I
after
do.
the Israeli and Palestinian war kicked off, you had the Bin Laden letter becoming trending on TikTok. And it was so concerning that The Guardian, which also praised the letter years later, had to stealthily delete the article. No, did you know that? Like, The Guardian also was like, oh, like, look at this letter. Like, maybe there is some truth to it. And that was, like, back in 2014 or so, and now they, like, the internet found out, oh, they deleted the article when it was trending on TikTok.
Yeah, just like in the new Ant-Man when they try to say communism works. Yeah, fuck off.
American Outlier, thank you for the $10. The Detroit mayor Albert E. Coble was a clear example of incentivizing when he pandered to black people about public housing. So with V tax the shit out of these single moms, it's a hard course correct.
Yeah, American Outlier with the big hit there, yes.
Yeah, no, it's, I mean, if you're going to give, look, I saw these TikTok videos since we're talking about TikTok, and you have, like, these ladies, and they're like, why would you ever settle for one baby daddy? You can settle with 7 different baby daddies, and they all give you child support, and you make a lot of money. See, this is smart. And I'm, like, looking at her, and I'm like, you know what? Like, she's making sense. She's not wrong. Like, the math checks out. I can't debunk that shit. Yeah, 7 baby daddies is better than one baby daddy with 7 kids. It's like, yeah, no, it's...
Yeah, the logic fits, but on the other hand, what about your future?
I don't think she cares.
No, I guess not.
No, I think like she cares.
Funny how it's the same argument when we talk about, like, governments changing policies and shit and not thinking about the future, right? Same short-sighted logic, man.
I don't know if it's short-sighted, but yeah, like, she does live in the now. She loves the present. So it's like 7 baby daddies in the now is better than one baby daddy. Like, tides go in, tides go out. You can't debunk that shit. So if you're creating the environment, and like, seriously, like, if you're the person with one baby daddy and you're looking at your neighbor who has 7 baby daddies and she's got more shit than you do and she has a better life than you do, it's very difficult to rationalize that, yeah, maybe in 40 years you're going to have it better off than she does.
Yeah, usually.
I mean, Uncle Sam provides. Uncle Sam is telling you, get more baby daddies.
Well,
so do you think, like, TikTok is going to lose in court? Because they won previously, I think. Like, there was a similar case. There was a similar legislation that they tried to pass.
Yeah, they lost on a technicality last time.
Yeah.
I think this time here, the reason why they had to say a hard no, we're not selling, is because they have reason to be scared, and they are scared. First of all, the precedent has already been set internationally. They already know that they're like, if it's bad enough that they can say we don't want it installed on certain, like, say, governmental phones or military phones or whatever, that's because there's already a concern for data collection. And if it gets to the point where this is not acting in their best interest, or now that what was it? There was a senator that recently just came out and started actually adding like you know when you have a fire already going with TikTok and you want to build a larger fire, you set some kindling or stuff or shit like just to the side of the fire. Well, there's one of the senators that came out basically saying that yeah, China is already starting to meddle with the U.S. elections. That's just going to add more weight to the argument in front of the Supreme Court, and it will get to the Supreme Court if it's not already there.
Yeah, and I
So
noticed.
I don't think it's gonna. I don't think TikTok has a chance.
Yeah, and I noticed that a lot of youth also support the ban for TikTok, which is very interesting. And it's kind of difficult to argue against it because China bans all American social media as well.
Yep.
Like
and
China doesn't let Facebook, they don't let they don't let YouTube. They don't
Yeah,
let
and we
Twitter.
already know that TikTok has a very big tendency and a repetitive tendency to have very harmful trends. Like if you all remember when if I say the word devious licks.
Doesn't ring a bell.
All right, well, there was an entire like 3-year span, all right, where devious licks, which was a trend on TikTok, where kids would basically go around destroying their schools and kind of like troll terrorizing their teachers. Take a look at it.
Jesus.
It's actually pretty nasty. Like we're
Yeah.
talking about like they would destroy like entire bathrooms on purpose.
Can you imagine
They
that
would,
happening in China? Like immediately they would crack down on it. They would have
Yeah, they would go after the family. The family would be held responsible for all of the
Yeah.
damages those kids did, and and that kid would likely be expelled from the school and not allowed. Like they would have to move into a different goddamn province
Yeah.
in order to
No.
get that kid into another school. There would be consequences for that shit.
Yeah, same here. Same in Romania. Like if that happened, your kid would expelling would be like the least of his problem. He would probably have to be sent
Yeah.
to a corrections facility, like one of those schools with bars and stuff, right? Like juvie.
Yeah, a juvenile facility.
Yeah, the parents would definitely have to pay for all the damages, and in some cases they may even be arrested, depending on what. If the kid did criminal charges and he's underage, then the parents can actually face a legal fine, or they can go to
Yep.
prison.
I mean, they're already blaming the parents of kids that are shooting up schools, right? Certainly, they can go after the kids that are busting shit up for no reason.
that's interesting. In America, do the parents of those kids do they go to prison?
In two recent situations, yes.
They should.
There are
Yeah.
two. There like just in the last while, there are two successfully argued. It's been argued a lot of times in the past, right?
Yeah.
Like I would say at least a half dozen in the past, but there have been two recent verdicts that were delivered in the last like I'd say 2 months or so, where parents who were proven to have ignored the signs and even sometimes have assisted in the purchase of these weapons are now guilty of manslaughter by proxy.
That's good, yeah. It should be. Like you as a parent should be responsible for the criminal acts that your juvenile, does. I would say until the age of 14.
Yep.
And,
If you're in position that you were their guardian, yeah. Unless you can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, right,
that you didn't know, yeah.
that you knew, yeah, and like, well, then that's it. And in these two cases, it was flagrant. It was really, really obvious that they knew what was going on, and in some cases, just let it happen.
Now, this new article is very interesting. I am a right winger. I don't go out of my way to hunt down stuff that the Democrats is doing, but like there are certain things that they are doing which is trending. Like if anyone finds a right winger doing something like this, a Republican doing something like this, like let me know and I'll talk about it. But until then, Minnesota State Senator Nicole Mitchell.
Oh, Mitchell.
Nicole Mitchell, yes. She said that
Yeah.
she wants more public safety, right? She wants to build safer communities. Did you know what she did in order to strengthen her point?
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you know why?
You know why? Yeah. Apparently,
Do you know why she did the burglary?
Apparently, she was just arrested for first-degree burglary.
Yeah. Do you know why?
Well, we'll see. I genuinely don't know. I haven't read the article, so I don't know.
Okay, because I can tell you why.
You get to see this, and you're like, what the fuck? Like a senator? Because
Yeah.
usually there's... When you go to law school, you discover that there's a crime for everyone, based on their social status. Like, you don't expect
Yep.
Bill Gates to be caught with pickpocketing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So when you look at a senator, I mean, okay, corruption, sexual deviancy, boot sex in the White House, la cocaína in the White House. Like these are things
Yeah,
that you
that
can
kinda crazy
expect
shit.
a senator to tamper with, but
A
burglary?
senator.
Like, really? Like, naughty?
A senator campaigning on creating safer communities goes around. And
Yeah,
gets a
and
burglary
it's like
charge.
burglary. And like, look, I get it. I get it. You know, like, if the demand isn't there, like, people do not demand safety because they already
Yeah.
feel safe. And you go and you burglarize someone, and all of a sudden the crime rate raises and people are alarmed. Like, I get what she's doing, but like, surely there must have been a different way.
Well, here's the deal, right? So it turns out that apparently Madame Democratic Senator
Yeah.
had a bit of a falling out with the member of her family, from what I last read, and this was like when this came out. Like, I think it
So
was yesterday.
anyway, a state
But-
senator and former broadcast meteorologist was arrested on suspicion of burglary. Democratic Senator Mitchell, 49, of Woodbury, was being held in the Baker County Jail on suspicion of first-degree burglary. Former charges were still pending. Mitchell did not immediately return a call left on the jail's voicemail system for inmates. It's not clear if she has an attorney or who could comment on her behalf. The police chief said he didn't know of one. Mitchell was arrested. Yeah,
sorry,
hold on. We're going to get that. Dispatchers received a 911 call from a homeowner about an active burglary in process of her residence. Officers searched the home and arrested the Democratic senator. The police chief said he could provide few other details because the case was still under investigation. He said that she was waiting to hear back from the county attorney's office and that complaint detailing the allegations may not get filed.
Well, the last I had heard,
Yeah.
the senator had broke into someone who's part of her family, and she was trying to retrieve someone's ashes.
Isn't that like an aggravated assault, like profaning the dead? And like in my country, if you try to steal someone's ashes, it's actually an aggravated.
Technically speaking, if I recall correctly, depending on the state, it should be automatically a felony because it's grand theft. The person's ashes can be intrinsically valued at more than $1,000. So yeah, generally you don't want to do that kind of shit.
No, like I get that.
Not that you want to do burglary to begin with, right? I'm not a senator. But...
Yeah, like I heard the cope. It's like, well, it's part of a family dispute. It's like, well,
it's like fuck that. It's burglary.
Yeah,
man.
like most. No, but like here's the thing: most burglary happens by people you know. Like actually, well, unless you live in Detroit or in California, like in most civilized places. You know, burglary is very risky. Like it's a high risk, high reward type of crime. So they usually target people that they know because they know when they're at home. They know where the goods are. And this is like one of those classic situations. Like she knew, right? Like who she's targeting. She knew what she wanted. She wanted to take it illegally.
Yeah, and assuming that the preliminary information was even accurate, apparently it was like an elderly, like an elderly part of their family, like
the stepmother,
like that's like you're going after the elderly, man. You're preying on a effectively a weaker class, right? Because they're a protected class
there's
in
a lot of aggravating circumstances.
Yeah, this is we're gonna chalk this under not a good look.
Would you say it's worse than boot sex in the Senate, or?
I'm gonna place that about equal at the level of what the fuckery that we're dealing with here, because that's like,
man, I don't know, but like, look, again, I'm a right winger, so I may be a little bit biased, but ever since decency was placed on the ballot, we had the Minister of Nuclear Energy that stole the panties from the airport. We had La Cocaína in the White House that no one knows how it got there. I assume they don't have cameras, right? So they just security is very lax.
It's not like they don't have cameras and people escorting people and then people escorting the people who are escorting people.
No, it just materialized. Like maybe China has, like, you know, the Russians hacked the White House and they uploaded La Cocaína.
All right.
And then we got.
So what you're saying is the Asgard teleported the cocaine.
The Asgard teleported La Cocaína, yes. We got the boot sex in the Senate, which to me looks like a blackmail video. Like, this looks like something you would do in order to be able to blackmail a person that's connected to a senator.
The U.S. compromat.
Yeah, the U.S. compromat, literally. It's like, hey, we got, you know, you want to work with us? That's fine. You got to film a tape. And if you don't do what we say, we link it to the press, which is literally what happened. Like, the press just suddenly has access to it, you know?
Now they're going to get visited by guys in trench coat that just hand them a folder and say, we know.
So like, given on the level, I would say that breaking into your stepmom's house to steal her ashes, even if you're a Democrat senator, I would say that 2024, not a good look, but not as bad as the others. It's.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say you could argue like an emotive moment, when you're like heat of the moment kind of thing.
Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul.
There you go. That's the term.
Yeah, this is a Better Call Saul type of situation. Have you seen the show?
Veruca Salt. Yes.
No, Veruca Salt. Better Call Saul. The Breaking
Better
Bad.
Call Saul.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I saw like the first season, but I know what you mean.
Oh, there's a scene where Chuck, Saul's brother, also makes it so that Saul breaks into his house and tries to steal a tape, and it's literally like that. Yeah.
Shit, yeah.
Maybe she watched that movie and she wanted to see how does it play out in real life. Like, can I get away with this or not?
I wouldn't risk it, man. YouTube is aggro on the copyright stuff.
Yeah. yeah. The creators of Breaking Bad should sue her for intellectual property theft. Now,
you gotta be careful.
Regarding Americanisms, there was an interesting event which even in Romania appeared, where a teacher confiscated this young gentleman's Nintendo Switch. And the young gentleman responded by smashing the teacher's head against the wall. And she went into a coma. And apparently, when she came out, she was pressing charges. And you had like all these cameras, and it's like, he is but a child. You can't press charges, no.
Yeah.
No. He was
They're
18,
trying to
by the way.
countersue now, trying to say, well, she shouldn't have triggered him, victim blaming the lady
so
that
now,
got attacked by a
yeah, like
270-pound fucking.
Yeah, now the high school student who beat his teacher unconscious. It's just like this line alone just doesn't register in my brain. Look, I grew up in the Soviet Union, right? Everyone was sitting with their hands behind their back, face forward, looking at the blackboard. Like there was no like moving or breathing outside of permission. Like this idea, it's like teacher got beaten unconscious by students. It's like what? But anyway,
I don't know, man. That's terrifying to me. The idea that a teacher could be attacked by a student, and now they're trying to paint it as if, like, the idea that they would paint it as if it's justified somehow because, like, the guy took out his goddamn Switch in class.
Yeah, like it's not being painted. It's just like he's suing. So they're basically saying that this is because she took his Nintendo Switch. And he is now suing the school district, blaming them for the attack.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? In order to sue, they have to make a complaint, and the complaint is being heard to see if it's accepted or not.
Yeah. So lawyers from Brenda Depa, a 6'6", 270-pound teen, like this is not like a little child, like they're saying, this is like a guy.
This is a big dude.
Yeah,
like, take a look at that video. He's twice the size and mass of that woman.
He does AoE punches, or if he punches you, the people next to you just flat fall out unconscious. Like
his fists, like if he was playing D&D, his fists
weapons.
Both would have cleave.
+2 cleave, yes. Magical weapons.
Exactly. Yeah.
The Society of Magical Weapons.
Oh no, you did not. But sorry, but like the whole idea that somehow the teacher would be responsible for this, right? As if attacking a teacher, right? Like even if they have a problem with the Switch being confiscated, right? Resolve it by bringing the fucking parents and talking to the school board. You don't attack a person out of nowhere. And like if this was done in what is reasonably like you don't basically do this kind of stuff in school, right? Because there's going to be consequences.
Hold on, I'm going to use ChatGPT and I'm going to use this prompt. I am a student whose teacher stole my Nintendo Switch.
Not stole, confiscated.
Okay.
Don't use stole. Okay. Stole implies a crime. Confiscation implies a penalty.
Okay, confiscation. Write in the style of Rorschach an introduction to this drama.
Oh man. You're gonna give this guy his supervillain story.
The scene, a classroom.
And yeah, CGR 902, you're exactly right there, man. Low impulse control. And that makes me worried, right? in a school, you're in an environment where people typically want to maintain control. So what if they go out in public and something that actually gives them a reason to be pissed off happens, right? How out of control is that person be, or that person's state of mind going to be if he's willing to attack a teacher, someone who is supposed to have some modicum of respect when you're a student?
Okay, listen, Ors.
Go hit it. Go ahead.
The scene. A classroom, fluorescent lit, humming with a low murmur of restrained adolescence. Walls plastered with faded posters. The hollow echo of a distant bell. Enter the protagonist, a student, vibrant with youthful rebellion, clutched in the electronic embrace of the Nintendo Switch. Hours stolen, pixelated lands, silent fortress against the drudgery of the gutter, filled with algebra and essays.
Holy shit, dude. This sounds already better than the entire last season of Watchmen. I'd buy a comic book about this shit, man.
The teacher, enforcers of rule, arbiter of order, perverted into a low scum criminal.
It's too juicy, man. Holy shit.
With a swift motion, born of routine, the device is confiscated and severed from its owner.
Oh, man. GPT.
Oh my god.
I think this comes from GPT on top of it, man.
Yeah, regarding the alleged theft, because there have been libertarians, which I don't usually see eye to eye. It's like, well, why did the teacher confiscate? And I'm like, okay, sorry, why did the teacher stole? Like, it's not stolen because you get
stolen.
it back.
They
right?
get
Like,
it back at the end of the day.
you get it back, or
right?
your parents get it back. But like, I guess the opposite thing would have been to say, all right, well, if you have a Nintendo Switch in my classroom, get out, and then expel him if he refuses. Right?
That's the thing. The reason why it got confiscated, because this story has already gone through court, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The kid took it out in class and was playing it with volume on in class.
Oh, it was volume on as well.
If the deposition, yeah, I mean, even if the volume was off, the kid's got a fucking toy in class, right? Save the toy for recess. If you can't use what you have in your book bag responsibly, they're gonna take it away.
Yeah.
Like that's the expectation that I had when I was going through school, and I don't want to sound like a goddamn boomer about it, but you're in school to do shit for school, and it's not right if you're distracting other people around you, man.
You know what I think, and this is highly controversial, very Eastern European minded, but like when I grew up, the teacher used to have this rule, and it was a very thick ruler, about like 2 meters long, and she would make you like put your palms in front, and she would like smack your palms with the ruler.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't do any lasting damage. It was much more benevolent than what you see in Dead Poets Society, that they had like that British law with the paddle.
Yeah, the big holy paddle.
Yeah,
there,
the holy paddle. But the idea was to instill discipline, right? You can have the best teachers in the world. You can have like the best math teacher in human history. If the kids do not have discipline, if they assault the teacher, if they do all of this stuff, then it's useless. Like, if they're not going to pay attention, if they don't respect you as a teacher, it doesn't matter what knowledge you have in your head, or what university you graduated, or how you know how to teach. And unfortunately, right, like now it's the idea that no, like any type of punishment is unreasonable. So the question is like, what do you do? And the only answer is, in a civilized society like America, the only thing you can do is call the cops. So it ended up that there was this viral video on Twitter a couple of years ago. And it was like the cops were called on this 9-year-old girl, right? And you have this black 9-year-old girl crying as she's being sent to the cop car. And the idea was that, oh, this is racism. But then you notice, well, hold on a little bit. Like, the principal of the school is black. Her teacher was black. Like, what the fuck happened? And then you realize, oh, so she bit one of her classmates. Like, she actually bit one of her classmates, and then she bit the teacher. And it's like, well, okay, so if you're a teacher in that situation, like in the Soviet Union, like that kid would have got a spanking, they go home, their parents are upset, probably another spanking. But like here you can't do that because that's child abuse, right? So now what do? You call the cops. Now she's got a criminal record. Now her parents also probably have to go to the police and sign documents. And,
yes,
and you know,
is the idea of being impugned from consequence.
Yeah.
right? At what point? Like you don't want to outright abuse a child, but you do want to instill an idea that actions have consequences. If not, well,
Yeah, but like
here
what?
we are.
Yeah, because I keep seeing like people on Twitter, and it's like, well, you need to talk to the kid. And it's like, what if the kid tells you to fuck off? Hey, well, you didn't talk to them properly. Yeah, but like, what do you do in that situation? They generally don't care. They're attacking a classmate. Like, what do you do? And it's like, well,
I don't know.
You tell them to go to the corner. And if they don't go to the corner, they're biting you. They don't want to obey. What do you do? And
You call the school resource officer.
Yeah, that's literally the only thing you can do. It's like you call the cops eventually, right? Like that is the
Yep.
answer. You call the police, and apparently this is a better system, right? Like you give them a criminal warrant, or a juvie. Like what do you get if you're a kid that you go to juvie? It's probably doesn't look good on your record, right? Like you do get some negative thing.
Well, in most states, your juvenile record is protected. They would have to be a special act in court for it to be opened up if it's relevant to
so
any
it's not
other-
like a criminal record in America, right? Like
No. Not unless you get tried as an adult, right? But if you have a juvenile record, it's supposed to be protected. But there's a lot of supposed tos in the legal system.
Here what happens is that it would affect the chances of getting into a good high school.
Oh, that it would, especially if you're trying to get in, like even later on too. Well, depending on the Ivy League, they might see it as an adversity upbringing. But if you're trying to get into a really good high school that has like the programs that you want to get for the SATs and shit to get into the real places, that can definitely filter you out.
Hell for $5. Now that we heard the Rorschach reading, I think it's fair to say the teacher deserved the chair. I think it's
How quick we change our minds, right?
I think it's the line where what did they say? Hold on, let me go back to it.
Sorry, what's that?
There was a line that the chat really liked. The way that the device of confiscated with a movement born out of habit.
That's fucking accurate.
What unfolds is not just a tale of loss and authority, but a narrative of exploitation into the heart of conflict, freedom, and control.
And now, through my actions, all things change. Today, we take a stand. Holy shit, man. I don't know, man. That's just... I take a look at the brutality of
Oh,
that
no,
assault
listen. The teacher, enforcer of rules, arbiter and order, with a swift motion born out of routine. The device is confiscated. See,
What
the thing
kind
is,
of
like,
meme have we birthed?
dude, you realize just how cocked American entertainment is. Cause like, if America had like some healthy, free, artistic entertainment like that they
Dude,
used to have in the 90s, like
if
they
this
would
was 2010, this would be a Nickelodeon comic, man.
yeah, like you would literally
Like
have
that
like the
readout that you
Rorschach
had
student. Yeah.
Like, it would be like a bunch of like teenage supervillains trying to survive teenage supervillain high school.
Yeah. And it's
And,
like,
all of the teachers are like retired or deject superheroes that are all like 1 year too tired of this shit.
and you would have like the villain origin
Yeah.
story. It's like he's sitting playing
they
his
would-
Nintendo.
Yeah, they would Adult Swim the fuck out of all of this.
Can you? Oh, hold on. Let me get it to write it in the style of Dr. Manhattan. Right.
But actually, V, I gotta call it out, man. 3 p.m.
Ah, shit.
on my side.
Yeah.
My tabletop is starting soon.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
man, it's my
and
pleasure.
we'll see you next week.
Hey, we talk to you next time, V. Talk to you next time, chat. See you next one.
Well, I was about done with the articles for this week. Hopefully you guys were entertained, but we're not going to see how Dr. Manhattan would have described the theft of the Switch by the teacher, but hopefully you guys will tune in next week, and we'll have more interesting news for you. So, take care.